smaller person is, anything can happen. Anybody can be knocked out. Because remember, the chin don't lift weights. That's what I always say.
As heavyweights as the sparring, or bigger people, like from middleweight to heavyweight. And the thing is, don't be surprised, okay? This is a photo. This is a photo of one of the bigger guys that he was sparring.
Floyd Mayweather was shocked after watching Gervonta Davis knock out a heavyweight during sparring. For the Jake Paul fight, he said, "People still don't get that size doesn't decide fights. A big body can fall fast if the smaller man has speed, power, and timing." Floyd explained that a smaller boxer can easily beat a larger one, and Tank proved it again by dropping someone far above his weight.
Anybody can be knocked out. So I don't put nothing past nobody. I can be knocked out. Hit me from the blind side. That's most time how fighters get knocked out, with the hook. You can't see a hook coming because it comes from the blind side. But as far as with boxing, I don't really need to beef with, I really don't need to beef with nobody in a sport of boxing. Even though it could be some people I really don't like, I don't need to beef with nobody. They ain't got what I got. They boxers. I'm a businessman. And then on the outside, most time, a motherfucker got beef with me because they ain't got what I got.
Gervonta Davis has always pushed himself by sparring with bigger fighters. Long before this upcoming match, his coaches say training against heavier men helps him stay sharp, explosive, and calm under pressure. This keeps his timing perfect and his movement fast. On the other hand, Jake Paul is training with smaller, quick boxers to prepare for Davis's speed. Both camps agree that size alone doesn't decide a fight. Davis is used to tough, powerful opponents, while Paul is learning how to close distance and land clean shots. Both sides believe skill and smart tactics will matter more than size.
Or bigger people, like from middleweight to heavyweight. And the thing is, don't be surprised, okay? This is a photo. This is a photo of one of the bigger guys that he was sparring. But in the past, like maybe a few years ago, he was fighting a guy in Mayweather's camp. He was a bigger guy. I think he was like a middleweight or something like that. He was whooping his ass. One time he was like on live whooping a bigger guy's ass. He's just beating bigger guys like middleweights and stuff. He's done that in sparring forever. Remember this story? I've brought it up a million times and I've showed this clip a million times, but on Ellie Set Back. This story of this guy saying how Gervonta Tank Davis knocked out this heavyweight.
Tell me the story. What happened?
Tank, what's the one boy name?
No, don't say a name. I don't want to embarrass anyone.
Oh, no, you're right.
But tell people what happened.
Man, I was about to spar. Before I was about to spar Tank, he was sparring this big boy.
A heavyweight.
Heavyweight boy. And Tank hit that nigga. He hit him so hard that he was on the top of the rope just like this. I'm like, I thought he died. Like, I ain't gonna lie to you. I thought he died.
Hey, I've seen him knock out some heavyweights. He might knock wild ass out now.
You knocked out a heavyweight?
Yeah.
How was that?
Cause I hit harder than Wilder.
Now, granted, the heavyweights that Gervonta Tank Davis is whooping and sparring is not like, all-time great heavyweights, all right? And it shouldn't be. But he's sparring the heavyweight, the level of heavyweight that, more experienced than Jake Paul, right? But Jake Paul has beaten those heavyweights himself, all right? I'm thinking that is the caliber of heavyweight that Gervonta Tank Davis is sparring, but he's whooping their asses. And that's a good thing. I feel with Jake Paul sparring Raymond Ford, to me, it looked like Raymond Ford got the best of him. It looked like Jake Paul was a little exhausted, and it looked like Raymond Ford wasn't. It looked like Jake Paul was a little disappointed in his performance, and Raymond Ford was trying to give him a pick-me-up. Like, just kind of letting him know. No, like, we do this and do that. It just looked like Raymond Ford was in a confident, secure place, more dominant place, the more alpha out the two in the ring, and that's Raymond Ford. That ain't Gervonta Davis. I love Raymond Ford. I have him on my fighters list. But still, I don't think anyone thinks he's as skillful or as powerful as Gervonta Tank Davis.
Reports from training say people have seen Davis drop much taller and stronger partners. Witnesses described how big fighters struggled to stay on their feet after taking his shots. What shocked everyone wasn't just his power, but his accuracy when he landed perfectly. Many entered the ring thinking they could push him around, only to regret it. Insiders say his power surprises even heavyweights. That builds his confidence and warns others not to underestimate him. His tight stance and fast upper body motion help him create huge power quickly, making him dangerous for anyone he faces.
So look at this. Gervonta Davis knocked out heavyweight in brutal sparring session. And it just makes me think, you're willing to go spar with heavyweights, but you're not willing to go fight people that you should be fighting. You know what I mean? You're fighting Lamont Roach. His sparring partners was like, man, I was about to spar Tank. He was sparring this big boy, a heavyweight boy. And Tank hit him so hard, he was on the ropes like this, hanging. I thought he died. I was like, man, I hope you don't do this stuff to me. When Davis asked to confirm whether it was true, the WBA lightweight champion said, stuff be happening. Best not to get in there with me. That's it. This guy has all the skills in the world to knock out even heavyweights in sparring, and yet he won't fight Shakur Stevenson. He won't fight Teofimo Lopez. He won't fight anyone that he needs to fight to become great. He's fighting Frank Martin and Lamont Roach. You know what I mean? It's just truly crazy. But hey, it's his career. If he wants to just make money, the easiest money that he can without fighting the hardest competition, so be it.
A popular boxing analyst said judging Davis by one average fight ignores his whole history of great finishes. Even on slower nights, he stays calm and composed through every round. That cool mindset is something only experienced champions have. Jake Paul is brave, but he hasn't faced that kind of pressure where one mistake can end it all. Davis turns hard fights into lessons, while Paul still faces the unknown. Fans forget how many top boxers Davis has beaten with patience and timing. Predicting an upset ignores the truth. Experience often decides who wins when things get tough.
Jake Paul is not beating Tank Davis. Can't believe I actually have to make this video, but let's break this down. The fact that there's actually credible names in the boxing industry saying that Jake Paul's gonna KO Tank Davis is wild. Look, I know Tank Davis's last performance against Lamont Roach was not that good. And in recent years, he's devalued his stock as a fighter by cherry picking, being extremely inactive, and just straight up fighting lazy sometimes. But let's not forget the offensive powerhouse that Tank Davis is. When he's on, he's one of the best knockout punchers in the sport today. He usually fights very economical the first few rounds, whether that's by strategy or that's just a habit he's had ever since he started boxing. But he starts out very slow in the first few rounds. But once he starts to let his hands go, and that snowball starts running downhill, there's almost nothing in the sport of boxing that can stop that. You need a guy who has elite defense to be able to stop an offensive assault like that. Only guys like Shakur Stevenson, Deron Ennis, and maybe Devin Haney have the ability to stop that. And then we have Jake Paul. Yes, he's 6'2". Yes, he's going to be 200 pounds in the ring. But as you can see with his fight with Tommy Fury, he has poor defense. Whenever he faces another boxer who actually knows what they're doing, once they let their hands go, Jake doesn't know what to do. He's not comfortable defending, whether that's moving his feet or moving his head or just having a tight high guard. He doesn't do it. He gets fatigued and starts dropping his hands, and that would be fine if he had good movement to make up for it, but he doesn't. He has some pretty decent offense, but he mainly throws punches and combinations for the first 4 or 5 rounds and then gets fatigued. He's not a true one-punch knockout artist, and he's not a very good strategic fighter either when it comes to winning decisions. So what's going to happen is Jake Paul's going to throw combinations for the first 4 or 5 rounds, and then right when he gets tired, Tank's going to come on strong and start unloading with the hardest punches that Jake Paul has ever been hit with. And he'll get stopped. It might not be a one-punch knockout, but Jake Paul will get stopped.
Respected former champion Carl Froch raised serious safety concerns about this special fight. He said the huge size difference could make the bout risky if it gets out of control. Froch explained that boxing rules usually keep fighters in the same weight range for fairness and safety. He knows big events sell tickets, but he worries about how much punishment a smaller man can handle from a heavy puncher. Coming from someone who's been in wars himself, his words carry weight. His goal isn't to attack anyone. He just wants both fighters to leave the ring safe and healthy.
I mean, I don't really take Jake Paul that serious. He can't really box. He can have a little fight, he can have a swing. Swings away, stands up straight, and he throws punches, but it's not professional boxing. Because when I watch him box, he does so much wrong. It's just, everything's wrong. It's so bad. He's got leaky defense. He telegraphs his punches. Like, you put him in with someone his own size, it was a professional, and it's a mismatch. And you'll see that if he ends up fighting somebody. Tommy Fury, bless him, he's a pro boxer, but he's inexperienced. He's got no amateur pedigree. He's a raw novice, or maybe just above the raw novice. I was saying earlier, where would I put him in terms of levels? He'd do well to win a British title. He's at that sort of level. And then from British title to world level, it's like different worlds. It's like totally different. It's like a different sport.
Experts watching Gervonta Davis's camp say his focus is unmatched this time. He isn't joking or wasting time. Every session shows how serious he is. This fight means more than just money. If Davis beats Jake Paul, He'll gain massive worldwide attention since Paul's fan base is huge. That kind of spotlight could take his fame beyond boxing's normal audience. His coaches say he's training like never before, throwing every punch with purpose and pushing his limits daily. Everyone in his camp believes he wants to make a statement, not just fight, but prove his greatness.
Press conference, and you can just look at him and tell, like, no, this dude he's going to get this money for sure, because there's so much money out there to be had. But Jake Paul better be not playing around, man. Not get cute, not play any games. Don't hit him in the back of the head. Don't rabbit punch him. Don't do any of that stuff, man, because Mike Tyson. First of all, Mike Tyson, a lot of people think Mike Tyson was pulling punches on Jake Paul, and a lot of people think that Anderson Silva was pulling punches on him too. You're not going to have a little Gervonta out there pulling punches on you, man, if you're out there playing games. So, I don't like the fight at all. However, as far as it being an entertaining situation, I almost guarantee you that fight itself is going to be entertaining. That it's going to be something that you look at and you're going to say, man, everybody's going to watch it. Everybody's going to want to know what happens in it. But at the same time, it's kind of like what people think, when you see a car crash, like you're driving down the road and all of a sudden the traffic gets heavy and you're like, man, I'm going to be in traffic for a long time. And then you drive forward a little bit and then you see, oh man, this is some accident on the other side of the road and everybody just slowing down to watch. That's the type of entertainment that you can expect from this fight between Gervonta Davis and Jake Paul. There's going to be a lot of people watching it, but I got to say, man, you really can't blame the guy on what he's doing. And there's a lot of criticism flying on Gervonta Davis. It's not Gervonta Davis's fault that boxing took this turn. This turn of these exhibition fights and people not caring about the belts and all of that stuff.
Teofimo Lopez, one of boxing's young stars, said this fight is more of a business move than a legacy one. He explained that not every fight has to be about titles or history. Sometimes it's about entertainment and smart marketing. Lopez believes both fighters are right to take a big money opportunity while reaching new fans. As long as they put on an exciting show, the audience wins too. Not every match has to go down in history. Some are about exposure and smart business, and that's okay for both men.
Very happy for Gervonta and Jake. I really am, man. It's good for the sport in some way,
So a heavyweight versus a lightweight.
Yeah.
You got a fly hit me, yeah. A heavyweight versus a lightweight. How's this gonna work?
Hey, they make it work. It's an exhibition for a reason. So, they know what they're doing. And, shout out to Netflix and shout out to both of them, honestly. Like I said, I think a lot of people in the boxing world are kind of upset. I could care less. I think they're going to go out there and make their money. It falls on the number 8 for a reason. They're going to make a lot of money.
Have you got a prediction for that fight?
My prediction? A show. A show.
Well, clearly it's a show, but when you've got a lot of people underestimating Jake Paul once again, but when you've got a heavyweight boxer who knows how to throw punches and knows the basics against a lightweight, it's quite a difference. I mean, have you sparred heavyweights before?
Yeah.
For competitive sparring in the ring?
Yeah, it's not the same. It's not the same, not at all. Definitely got to move. I've actually played around a few times, went through between their legs just to duck around. But yeah, because they're taller, But I think for that competition, that fight, it reminds me a lot like The Big Show, and Floyd Mayweather when they fought in WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And will that end the same way?
Possibly. Maybe some brass knuckles in there too.
Can you see Jake Paul knocking out Gervonta Davis?
It's boxing, man. And if it's a show like this, anything goes, anything happens.
The weight gap between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis is one of the biggest talking points. Before the fight, many experts say Paul's size gives him a major advantage if he lands clean. It could hurt Davis badly. They argue that size and strength do matter in boxing, but others disagree, saying Davis's elite skill, defense, and timing can balance it out. They remind fans that boxing isn't about muscles. It's about accuracy, experience, and execution. In the end, brains and timing might beat brawn.
WBA lightweight champion Gervonta Davis, who's unbeaten in 31 professional contests, takes on the self-proclaimed problem child Jake Paul, one of the most influential and marketable global personalities. Paul and Davis square off in Miami after doubts around the fight being sanctioned in Georgia triggered a change in venue. Neither fighter can weigh more than 195 pounds. The weight is perhaps the most surprising factor. Paul has boxed most of his career around 200 pounds, the cruiserweight limit, but did tip the scales at 227 pounds when he faced off against Iron Mike Tyson last year. Davis, much smaller in stature, competes at the 135 pound mark and has also won world honours at super featherweight.
And despite some discussions about possibly dropping down to 10 ounces, the pair seem set to wear 12-ounce gloves.
And in terms of distance, despite the exhibition tag, the fight will play out over 10 3-minute rounds with 3 scoring judges at ringside, but the result will not be officially recorded on their professional records.
Carl Froch again warned about the risks of this fight because of the extreme size gap. He said that sports commissions usually have strict rules to avoid unsafe mismatches like this. Froch believes that power from a man that big could be too much for someone much smaller. No matter how skilled they are, even perfect technique can't stop all damage. He's not questioning anyone's courage. He's just worried about safety and wants to avoid a dangerous outcome inside the ring.
My name was mentioned at his press conference and he shit himself. And the fight was just absolutely fucking diabolical. Again, I've said before, he's not a professional boxer. He never will be. And he proves time and time again that he's not a professional fighter. So, Jake Paul, go on, piss off.
Dana White, the head of the biggest MMA organization, gave his honest take on the fight. He said the hype isn't as crazy as promoters hoped, but he sees it as a chance for Davis to rebuild his image. Davis's outside-the-ring problems have taken attention away from his skills, so this spotlight can help. White admitted that Jake Paul's size and reach could give Davis real trouble, especially if Paul keeps pushing forward. Davis will need smart counters and movement to survive. Dana believes the fight is risky, but if Davis wins, it could completely change his future.
Jake Paul to beat Gervonta Davis. This is not a fight that I'm excited for at all. I would rather have Gervonta Davis fighting in a real boxing match against the likes of Lamont Roach, Shakur Stevenson, Keyshawn Davis, Emmanuel Navarrete, anybody that is in the 135-pound division and around. That's where I want to see Gervonta Davis fight. However, we live in a world where everybody is trying to do things as big as possible. And the biggest fights possible right now, unfortunately for the sport of boxing, is an exhibition fight between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis. So I do like it for this reason, though. I like it because it is allowing Gervonta Davis to have a fight that is going to be big and that the mainstream media is going to have to cover, the mainstream media outside the world of boxing. Gervonta Davis has been, without a doubt, blocked, having venues blocked, having fighters, having other promoters paying fighters away to go different directions from Gervonta Davis. So Gervonta Davis was in a bit of a hole.